We just finished our hike to Acatenango. I believe it's pronounced Acatenango. Back to the video. A couple days ago, and I thought I'd give our review of our hike. So, started at 8 a.m. on the actual trail of the hike and had to hike up to base camp, and we got there around 1 p.m. But we took very few breaks. I think we only did like 3 or 4 5-minute breaks. Honestly, we're pretty big hikers. We do hike a lot in the States at national parks, doing like 3, 4, 5-hour hikes. But this is our first trip where we actually had a backpack for an overnight trip. And we really didn't plan out how heavy that bag would be and the elevation gain for this hike. So when we arrived at base camp at 1 p.m., we were exhausted. We were distraught. Our bodies were hurting. It was beautiful and it was definitely worth it. But our experience was that it was a lot tougher than we had anticipated.
Personally, for me, and we work out, I was really humbled by that hike. I think maybe if you're a runner, you could be okay. But for me, it was tough. I had a 30-pound bag with me because you have to bring 3 liters of water, all of your clothes and toiletries, and a lot of cold weather gear, like a big winter jacket. So for me personally, just that 30-pound bag alone was so tough to hike up 5 hours. And you're going straight uphill the entire time with minimal breaks. And so it was tough for me. And then I got altitude sickness. I was really nauseous and I had a really bad headache. So definitely bring medicine for your headaches and a lot more water than you anticipate. So for me personally, it was just a tough hike. It was worth it for me. Yeah.
When we got to base camp, it was really foggy. And so typically, I think on these hikes and what we had planned with our tour guide was that we would do the hike to Fuego, which is the actual volcano that erupts. We would do the hike where you can get closer to that volcano the night that we arrived at base camp, but it ended up being so foggy that it kept extending. So we went from possibly hiking at 3 to 4, then 5. And so we're kind of waiting around at base camp. We didn't really prepare for that, so we didn't bring cards, games to play or anything. And like the rest of the people in our group were in the same position where we were kind of sitting around, and the base camp is really nice. You get an amazing view of the volcano when there isn't mist. So when we arrived, we couldn't really see anything. Like we didn't have a view of anything yet. So that's just something to keep in mind. I would say like maybe bring like a card game just in case. Because you can't control the weather. But later that night, around 8 p.m., it did clear up, and we actually got to see the volcano erupt, and it was beautiful.
Freezing outside. So it was like, do I want to be in my cabin at 8 p.m. and be cozy, or sit outside in the freezing weather and watch the lava and like the explosion from the volcano? I mean, bring warm clothes.
And you can see it. Like I think most of the base camps, we went with the Hiking Trails company. So depending on your company, you have different styles of bunks. But I think all of them come with a window view of the volcano that you could see from inside of your little hut. And then I'll move into the next part. So typically in the morning, you have another optional hike. So the nighttime Fuego hike is optional. And then you have a morning sunrise hike, also optional, that goes up a different side of the mountain. So given our situation, we had the option the next morning to do either of the hikes, but you could only do one or the other. So we did the Fuego hike in the morning, and both require you to wake up at 3 a.m. and then head out on the trail at 3:30 a.m. So that's another thing to consider, where we were kind of trying to rest a little bit, had to bed a little bit earlier because we were waking up at 3 a.m. to do the hike. So we did wake up, headed out at 3:30, was super rushed. And let me tell you, this was the hardest part of the hike. It was going like straight down one part of a mountain and then straight up the mountain next to Fuego. Or I think it actually is part of Fuego that you're hiking up. But that was super hard. And I think we took one break like in the crevice. Like once you get down to the bottom, you're taking a break and then you're going up. The saving grace is that you only need water and snacks if you want to bring it, so you're not bringing the whole hiking bag. But the gravel was really loose and it was a pretty tough hike. And then at the top, it was actually really cold. Heading up to this hike, I didn't have to use my puffer jacket like going up to base camp. I didn't have to use the gloves that I brought or the boggin. But then when we got up to the Fuego top, I was using everything I had, and I still thought I was going to get frostbite.
The 3 a.m. wake up call is tough, and I am a morning person. So the lack of sleep is hard already. And I think the other thing is that you're truly sliding down the mountain for 30 minutes, and then you're going up another mountain for 30 minutes, 0 breaks. So you're exhausted. It's 3 a.m., probably delusional, just hiking up this volcano. So bring hiking poles. People who weren't using hiking poles, I literally had no idea how they were not slipping and sliding everywhere. So hiking poles were our saving grace, and it was truly freezing up there. So make sure you have really good gloves or just be warm. But the views, so worth it. Just, it's a very early morning hike.
So the hike up to Fuego, and I think Summit's pretty similar. It's like
3 hours.
it's 3 hours for Fuego.
Yeah.
And it might be 2 hours for the summit.
Yeah.
For the sunrise summit. But either way, the people for the sunrise summit also left after us and got back at similar time. So it makes sense that it's a little bit shorter. But for the Fuego part, it was 3 hours. So when we hiked up, we stayed for an hour, like just waiting for the volcano to erupt. And we saw it erupt probably 4 or 5 times, like quite a few times. Also why it's so cold, because you're kind of
Waiting.
like, you're waiting there. But then as soon as we got back to base camp, we literally had to pack up our stuff, use the bathroom. In 30 minutes, they had some coffee for us and some banana bread.
I don't even know if I chewed my banana bread. I just like stuffed it down and like had to pack all my bags, and then I had to leave.
Yeah, you're literally packing your bags and then you're rocking and rolling to the hike to get back.
Just to slide down the volcano for another 2 hours. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, so it's the same hike that it's a different trail because we saw different stuff. So we did take a different trail. We took a public trail to get down. So it's a little bit faster. For a couple reasons, we took a different trail. We took no breaks. And also, it is pretty steep and you can move pretty fast, like walking downhill as opposed to uphill. And you also have less stuff with you. Like you have less water, you have less snacks because you've eaten it or drank it. But it was pretty exhausting. Like we woke up at 3 a.m. and went from freezing cold temperatures to then doing the hike back down the summit, which I was wearing just a t-shirt because I was sweating so much. And I think we got back to have like our quote unquote breakfast at like 12 p.m. So I think we arrived back to where the shuttle picks you up at 12 p.m. So it was a really exhausting morning. And again, I feel like Davina had a tough time going down as well. Mainly, I think, because of the lack of food.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really know the situation. So if you're going, I would plan ahead. You need to bring snacks and food and things to keep you energized. Yeah, water. Personally, my recommendation is to bring like candy or some kind of, quick source of energy. Other than that banana bread, we didn't have breakfast until like 12:30. Yeah. So it is a pretty long and pretty exhausting day.
I mean, again, everyone's different. We are as soon as we wake up, we eat breakfast. So if you're an 11 a.m., 12 p.m. breakfast person, you might be okay. But for us, we love breakfast in the morning. And mind you, we've already had 8 hours of hiking from 3 a.m. to 12, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what made it so hard is like I've already gotten 20,000 steps by the time I've gotten down to, the bottom of the volcano. So I think that's what made it hard. But the only thing motivating me was food at the bottom. So yeah, and we also were running out of water at that point. So yeah, again, amazing hike, but just come prepared, pack warm clothes, have water, and electrolyte tablets is what we brought with us, which was really helpful. And eat some food before the hike. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I would come prepared, and I'm the type of person to skimp out on things and not get gear. And on this one, I did bring gloves because we had limited bag space coming here. So obviously, I didn't bring hiking sticks, I didn't bring gloves, and I rented all these things. And I think it's key. I think you need some hiking sticks, you need gloves, you need a hat, you need multiple layers because it's going to go from hot to cold. One thing we did forget to mention is the dinner. That we had the night before. It was good, in my opinion, and I talked to a couple other tour groups, but our group, you get a huge piece of chicken. It was like a whole, it was a whole half of a chicken. And then a pasta, like a red pasta with carrots in it. So it was pretty good. But again, I'd still bring food because my Apple Watch said I burnt like 1,700 calories that day just on the hike. Other than the food that I brought, I was just eating that dinner for the night. And then again, in the morning, you're eating banana bread and that's it until like 12 to 1 p.m. Definitely bring a lot of food. Also didn't mention the lunch. With our hiking tour, they gave us a packed lunch that you do have to carry yourself. You have to hike up with. And our lunch had a couple pieces of chicken. It had a lot of rice with vegetables in it, and it had some watermelon. As far as the food goes, I think it was really tasty, but I am a person who likes to eat a lot of protein, so it wasn't a ton of protein.
The protein, bro. Can you see these muscles? He was not happy with the 2 pieces of chicken we had for lunch.
Yeah, very little protein. I lost weight on this trip for sure. It was an amazing trip. Definitely recommend it. It's just, you want to be prepared. You want to be informed before you go. You want to be in reasonably good shape. And yeah, remember that you're going to have to carry up a bag. You don't have to carry up a sleeping bag. You don't have to carry up pillows or anything. It's only your food and your water and your layers that you're going to wear. Change your clothes if you're going to end up doing that.
I will also mention you can hire a porter, which is, someone can carry your bag up to the volcano for you. So that's just something to consider as well, depending on your physical condition. I do know that someone in our group did that. And I mean, I carried my own and I was really struggling. So just something to consider. Obviously, it's extra to pay for a porter. Your hiking tour guide should be able to let you book that separately.
And then a couple final things, just wanted to touch on the actual hut that we stayed in. It was pretty nice, to be honest with you. It's better than being in a tent. We've never really done like an overnight camping trip like this. You have like a little pad that you're on, and there's sleeping bags in there and pillows, some extra blankets. So it was actually pretty warm once you get under the sleeping bag. We also paid extra to have our own bunk to ourselves. So it's just us two. I think if you don't pay extra, they're putting like I think other people had like 3, sometimes 4, I want to say, like 4 people in one room. And then I also wanted to mention the bathroom situation. The toilets, it was basically like a wood shack with a hole that went down to, into the woods. It was fine using it, but I would just, keep that in mind. You're basically in an outhouse. But yeah, we just wanted to make this video to be kind of helpful and just give like insight into our experience. We actually loved it. I would personally do it again. It's again, just like being informed. I also had like a pretty tough time. In retrospect, I would bring more snacks and more food, and I would eat more appropriately. But would I go back? Yeah, the views were fantastic. Even with us still getting the fog and everything, it was amazing. I can only imagine how great it would be if you had great weather. Seeing a volcano erupt is once in a lifetime opportunity. So I think it's really worth it. And I would definitely be down to just do the trip again in the future. So yeah, I hope it doesn't sound like, a lot of complaining. It's just, we're not big like backpackers or overnight people yet. But yeah, so that was our experience. If you like this video, like and follow for more.